Heresy has brought back a lot of new things and also introduced a lot of new things, but one of the things that people aren't talking about enough is the Vault of Glass weapons. Vault of Glass has been reissued with all of its perks with a new origin trait and a lot of new perk combinations, and I wanted to talk about the one that I think you need to go out of your way to get this week. Vault of Glass is the premier raid this week, so one of the raids you can farm over and over and over for patterns for the Vex Mythoclast and pretty much anything else in that raid. If you had to ask yourself what was the one weapon I need to go for this week to make sure I have fully unlocked, whether it be the craft or the adept timelost version, and for me it has to be Corrective Measure. Corrective Measure is a machine gun, a void machine gun from Vault of Glass that used to be a 450 that for some reason they decided to give it a buff and give it a 600 rounds per minute increase. So instead of it being a 450, it is now a 600. Obviously the impact is a little bit less, but because of timelost magazine and because of the perk combinations you have now, the increase in fire rate shines through so well. Now, if you're trying to be efficient, I would probably recommend doing the normal first just to get the craftable already. But if you want to go all the way to the top, easily the best way of doing it is to do the Master Atheon Challenge, which is the challenge is everyone has to shoot one oracle every cycle inside. Pretty easy, especially right now when you have Lord of Wolves just shredding Atheon. If you can get a team, I would highly recommend getting it this week, just on the master version, the timelost version. If you need a group of people, feel free to come onto the Twitch stream. I'll be doing runs every single day, getting people Vault of Glass clears and master clears so you can all have the ability to having timelost Corrective Measure. Now, looking over the perk combination and the perk trees, obviously we have some new ones here. We're going to have something like redirection, which is pretty cool. A lot of people are really hyped about that. We still have rewind rounds and subsistence. We still have a crowd favorite, demolitionist. You have some PvP perks like dynamic sway, and then noticeably you have Firefly, but now Firefly is in this tree instead of the next tree. And then you have the standout being destabilizing rounds, which is a void perk that's going to allow you to just constantly trigger volatile rounds, giving yourself volatile rounds and spreading volatile rounds. If I had to pick one perk, I would go for destabilizing rounds in this column. For the next column, you still have perks like Adrenaline Junkie, and then you have high impact rounds, which are just common ones from back in the day. You have a new perk like Withering Gaze. You still have One for All, and you have a new perk as well, Elemental Honing, which a lot of people wanting on the Rocket. Personally, I think the Rocket is a better choice for Elemental Honing, but there are some niches that you can go and build around that Elemental Honing will be pretty cool to have on. If you want to go for something for just damage, obviously you have Killing Tally, which is always a really good choice, but I do think a lot of people prefer this already on Commemoration instead of Corrective Measure. We have the perk that's going to be interesting, but on a machine gun probably isn't the best choice, Withering Gaze. And obviously the last perk, Demoralize, is a fantastic perk that I would recommend on this first. Precision Final Blows cause nearby targets to become weakened. Obviously, the void verbiage of weaken and volatile, being able to stack deep stabilizing rounds with Demoralize is really good, so you can always just run around just having nothing but just volatile active and having nothing but weaken spread to every single target that you're fighting. Pairing all these perks together makes for a really fantastic machine gun that honestly is hard to beat across the board no matter what machine gun it is. We haven't even talked about the origin trait that was added to this weapon called Timelost Magazine, where final blows with this weapon grant bonus super energy. When your super expires, the weapon's magazine size is doubled for a long duration and reloads from reserves. What this means is you basically have intrinsic overflow, which means you can take that magazine and double it. And then when you dump all the magazine down, if you still have Timelost Magazine's trait active, you then get a free reload. Obviously this is better on like a sniper or a rocket launcher, but in certain times when you have the ability to just dump an entire magazine, you will be able to get another free magazine for the free ski, which is absolutely insane. There's been multiple times that I've been able to overflow the magazine with a super, and then I have about 200 almost in the magazine. I dump that all in, and then I just get another 90 bullets in the magazine. So for free, I've done almost 300 bullets of damage in no time without having to reload, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, this is not something that's going to happen super often, but in certain scenarios, especially ones in like raids and grandmasters and just dungeons, especially solo ones, you sometimes will need to have to just dump magazines onto targets. And in those situations, I can't think of a better weapon that I would bring into a situation than this weapon. I have so many kills with this weapon, and the kill count doesn't even make sense because a lot of my kills aren't technically counting to my kill tracker because of all the ways I'm creating volatile. So all the explosions, all the volatile weakening effects, sometimes those don't count to the kill tracker. And I still am knocking on 10,000 kills very soon in this episode. If you really want to go out of your way and get a better version of it, you could always go for the time lost corrective measure. This season, if you have some patterns unlocked, you'll have the ability to unlock 6 perks on one weapon. So in theory, you could get like Firefly, destabilizing rounds, and rewind rounds, and pair it with demoralize, withering gaze, elemental honing, or even killing tally. So you can go for a weapon that has all the perks for every situation you might want to use it in. And that is something that allows for players to have a long-term grind or investment on these weapons, which is always a really good thing. Now, I'm not saying the other weapons aren't worth going after. Obviously, the rocket is best in slot and it's a must-have. The sniper is also fantastic, and for PvP, Found Verdict has gotten even better and more desirable. We haven't even talked about Fatebringer, which is already still one of the best primary weapons in the game. All I'm saying is that the machine gun, if you had to go out of your way, I gotta give a shout out to machine gun and go for that one first and foremost. Make sure you get that one done first. Now, I know what you're asking, but Daniel, aren't these perks only going to be really good with the artifact this season? And I gotta say, no. I've used these weapons long enough that I definitely feel confident that a lot of these weapons, especially the machine gun, is going to be worth taking into content after this episode when all the void stuff is not around. You can even take advantage of all of the other perks in the origin trait, like the time lost magazine is still going to be really good even when you don't have the artifact helping it. If I've convinced you to go out of your way to get into raids this week and earn yourself the corrective measure, then I've done my job. If I haven't, then feel free to come to my Twitch stream. I'll be doing Volta Glass, normal, and master runs all week, getting people as many chances as I can for them to earn this weapon and others, because I definitely think everyone deserves to have these weapons and enjoy just the lethality and just the fun builds that they can build around these weapons. As always, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.